I think an important relationship with when we first started as basically just out of college was the relationship we built with the gentleman that we bought this place from and leased before we did buy it from, because I think without his trust in us, it would have been very hard to get started. And I think he saw something in us that, yeah, he was willing to give us a shot, and that meant the world to us. So we'd put in the hours, and we wanted to make him proud, just like we would our folks, our grandparents, and we could see that. We could see the pride he took in the land that he had, and we wanted to fulfill that as well.
About 2 years, year and a half after we had made an acquaintance and made friends, he approached Laci and I that he was looking to retire and wanted to help and give an opportunity to some young people that maybe had interest, desire, work ethic was a big thing that he appreciated, and wanted to give us an opportunity if we were interested as he looked to transition away from the operation. When we transitioned, his operation was so different from what we currently are now. It was strictly a commercial operation in terms of cow-calf, and really not a specific genetic base on the commercial cows that he ran, and the pride that we took. And the landlords could see that irregardless of whether we owned it or rented it, that was our resume. And the pride that we took care of the things that they owned, the things that they cherished, I think then led to more opportunities. Our first landlord that we worked with, the first couple of years, it wasn't easy because he loved it, and stepping away was hard for him because of his connection. And so sometimes maybe there was little things that he might have gotten undone about, and did at different times. But I think how we handled those, and knowing from his perspective why he felt that way, what was causing that reaction, and then how then we handled that was so huge in making that transition and making it so that he felt good about what he was doing. As that trust then continued to grow in those experiences, it went from checking on us every so often or every other week to then all of a sudden, hey, I haven't talked to him for a month and a half. We better give a phone call. So, which made us proud. Just the comfort level that grew.
Making it work between us as renters and our landowner. Sometimes if maybe we didn't have a scenario taken care of up to par, I think it was key to say, okay, how would you do it? Or how would you like it done? And I think that was reassuring to him, that we were willing to be open-minded, that maybe the way we thought we were doing things maybe wasn't the way he would do things, and to kind of meet in the middle and say, hey, maybe we both have some good ideas here. So I just think communicating and just being willing to even ask questions and not just think you know it all right at first, and just, be willing to just communicate that way. And I think that's one thing on the terms of, or along the lines of the communication and the relationships, is also having all the documentation in place too, and your agreements. And even though that's sometimes the stuff that you just don't want to worry about, it is just so necessary for both parties to have peace of mind. And we're very fortunate that all the landowners that we work with have been very just up to par on all those tricky, documents and things that just need to be in place.
And I think that's part of the communication too. And even though it's not verbal, it's written. And so in the 23 years, we've never had to go back, or our landlords haven't had to go back and say, well, it's written here in the contract. Because we both know what it is. We both understand what the expectations are. And so, again, it sets of, guidelines for us to follow, both parties. And, it's just one of those additional good forms of communication. I think to add to that, too, is the people that we lease from did not acquire what they have by not being good business people themselves and understanding the value of what they have, or the value of what it is to use what they have. So for us, we've always wanted to make and be as successful as we could at our individual operation on what we do. That way we could be in a position to reward those landowners as values increased, because as values increase, land values increase, so does taxation, and so does different things. And as we've been able to take our relationship in an upward linear, if you will, direction, not only from a communication and a trust standpoint, we've also wanted to do it from a financial standpoint as well. And I think because we've been able to do that, then those additional landowners we've talked about, of the ones we've had, we have only approached one about potentially leasing. All the rest of them have came to us. I think, for us, even as we have kids and as we get older, we immediately put financial guidelines and parameters of what we wanted to do in case something happened to us. And even though initially a lot of the initial agreements that we worked out and we negotiated, I was a part of, but Laci immediately came into the picture. So it was also important for me that I communicated with landowners that if something ever happened to me, Laci can handle this. It's obvious. And then a lot of them knew that already, but I think it was important for me to communicate. And that way, all the people that we work with fully understand, irregardless, we are both in charge. We are both making decisions together. We're both capable. And I think that's also helped build trust and comfort, knowing irregardless of the scenario,